Hello. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm John, aka Kabam Crashed. I'm part of the design leadership team on Contest. And I am very excited and also very tired after a long day today.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Man, it made me yawn just saying that.
Sorry, it's contagious.
I know.
It's been a long one, but it's been good. Hope everyone enjoyed the brawl.
Dude, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
We just had Dragon, and she was telling us all about it.
It was so good. You always wonder if a game mode's going to translate into a room full of people for the first time you've done it, and I think it really kind of gone better. So very excited. All 4 matches went the distance. Hopefully tomorrow has really tough competition again.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
There were 2 upsets. It was fun, cheering and booing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Yeah. So Crash, tell us about what you do.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I'm part of the design team on Contest. I work on a lot of different parts of the game, economy, meta systems. I'm the design point of contact on our anti-cheat program, systems design. I work on basically all of the design parts that aren't characters and quests.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen you in CCP talking economy.
Yeah.
So tell us about how it is like maintaining the economy as it evolves, as the game evolves.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the contest economy is a huge beast, right? It's a dream job for someone like me to think about that, but it is obviously a challenge. There's, many players at many points of their journey, and trying to make it all piece together in a way that works for everyone can be very challenging. Obviously, we spend a lot of time working on the economy as it relates to, probably most of your viewers and yourself are most engaged players, but we also have to spend a lot of time thinking about players who are in Act 5 and Act 6 these days, and players who are just starting the game. We have a whole team dedicated to the first 30 days of player experience, and I don't know if anyone started a new account recently. A lot has changed in that part of the game as well. So it's very busy.
For sure. All right. All right. Yeah, there's been a lot happening. What's been going on tonight? What have you been up to?
Sure. So the main thing that I'm working on tonight is something I'm not allowed to talk about because players will learn about it on our stream tomorrow. But we have a new game mode that's being announced tomorrow. People here learning about it. Have you talked about it already?
We've said Everest.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a new piece of Everest content and also an entirely new Alliance game mode that's going to be announced tomorrow. So
it's exciting.
Yeah. So tonight I've been playtesting that with people, and for the last couple months, a large portion of my time has been spent on those two pieces of content and exactly how they're going to fit into the contest. So very excited about that. One is coming later this year, one's coming early next year. So they are on the very near-term horizon. Yeah.
Heck yeah, long time coming. Imagine a game with a big economy and longevity is somewhat unprecedented.
Yeah, so it's not completely unprecedented. There are some other mobile games that have lasted this long and are successful. There are some impressive examples, I would say, of games that are actually about the same age as ours, 8, 9, 10 years old, that actually have started growing again. And so that is our goal. We want to become one of the true forever games. I believe that Marvel is probably the best IP in the world to make an action game out of. And I believe that we can reinvest in this game to make it one of those true forever games. So that's our goal. I mean, I know I've seen, you occasionally run into comments on forums and Reddit and saying like, oh, they're winding down the contest. It couldn't be further from the truth. Honestly, the economy in general isn't doing super hot. There's no question that gaming specifically is in a recession, there has been negative growth in the gaming space. I think all gaming companies have realized that the way forward is to reinvest in their products that are already working. And so Contest is the pillar of Kabam. It's Netmarble's largest game, our parent company's largest game. And so we are, I would say, aggressively reinvesting in it right now. And that's why you're seeing these new game modes. That's why you see us doing something like Battlegrounds. We're committed to making Marvel Contest of Champions a true forever game. That's where we want to go with this.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Like you said, almost a decade old. I mean,
it's almost a decade old, and I think probably its best decade is still to come. I know that's
crazy.
That's saying a lot, but I think we're really moving in the right direction. We've made a lot of progress over the last year. I think things were kind of feeling stagnant. And just even in the last 3 or 4 months, I think people have probably seen a big difference in the way the game has gone. And I can tell you that next year is going to be more of that. There's going to be more novelty. There's going to be more excitement. There's going to be more new things to re-engage summoners. And we're hoping that not only will our current summoners stay with us and really love what we're doing, but also tell their friends who have left to come back. That's where we want to go with this.
I know. There's a lot of content to come. I'd love to see it. All right. Any plans on easing up on pushing relics? Or quite the opposite.
So, as we told the community, the relics are on pause in terms of new design.
Yes.
So we're basically have the relics that are in game right now, and we're trying to find new, interesting ways to loop them into gameplay. So I think the answer is what relics look like right now is probably what they're going to look like, at least for kind of like the medium-term future, in that there will be content that asks for them. They are becoming more available. I think most summoners have probably found that there are a lot more relics available, and we are going to be continuing to look for interesting ways to loop them into the contest. What it looks like in kind of like the long term, that's why we're sorting out. That's kind of why we paused development on them while we try to figure out exactly what their place will be in the long term in the contest. But there are some new mechanics related to relics that are coming with some new content that's going to be arriving, and I think we've reached a pretty good space with them. I will also say that, like, I know that summoners were underwhelmed with relics. I think it's fair to say as they were released, and I totally hear that. I think that their initial design was probably too conservative on their release, in the sense that we released 4 rarities at a time. If I could go back in time, I would change that. I don't think that we needed 4 rarities. We probably could have just launched with the stronger of the rarities. But now that summoners are starting to collect more 5-star relics, starting to be able to rank them up, and I think importantly starting to awaken them and raise their, what are they called, innate abilities, signature abilities. I think they're going to find them more powerful. And like, if we do internal damage tests, and some of the 5-star max ranked relics can increase the champion's damage by 30+% if they're equipped to the proper champion and completely completely ranked up, sigged up. So I think we're moving in a good direction with relics, but like I said, the long-term future of them we're still trying to determine. And just to be honest with you, we don't know internally where we're going with them yet either.
Okay. That's good not to be on a path and just be kind of upset and then kind of backtrack.
Yeah, we're open to see where things go now that summoners are getting their hands on more powerful relics, to see kind of like what impact that has on the contest, and then that will probably help us determine our direction moving forward.
Cool. 7 stars were just introduced. This game's going nowhere. Absolutely. Alliance raids, please. Can you get banned for how many? For forfeits in the Battlegrounds? I have no idea.
Yeah, so I'm actually, full disclosure, I'm the person who writes all the anti-cheat posts. Some of them go over well, some of them don't go over so well. I think that brief update that we sent out the other day didn't go over as well as it could have, because we probably weren't specific enough. So there's going to be an update next week. We have a really, basically a new anti-cheat program that we're working on for Everest content, because we want the next piece of Everest content to launch with like a fully integrated anti-cheat program, which we've never done for Everest content before. So there should be a post in the next couple of weeks about that, and in that we'll update players. But the short of the answer is no. You cannot get banned for forfeiting in Battlegrounds. You're not going to get banned for losing in Battlegrounds. You're not going to get banned for being bad in Battlegrounds. The behavior that we're looking specifically to address is players who are deliberately basically skewing their climbing journey to beat up on smaller accounts, because it's a horrible experience for those accounts. Those accounts basically have one of two options. They get into a fight and they see a forfeit, which means that they don't get to play Battlegrounds, or they just get stomped by a big account, which means they don't get to play Battlegrounds. And that's not what we're looking for. So I can tell you that the way that we run our anti-cheat program is through data, and we're looking at very specific play patterns. And the play patterns for players doing this are distinct. And
Okay,
so
that's good.
there's no other play pattern that's going to get anyone we're going to take action against anyone for. And I promise you, I know that there's like players trying to say that we can't. I promise you we can tell the difference between someone who's bad at Battlegrounds, someone who's doing this. We can tell the difference between someone who's queuing into a fight and setting their phone down to complete their objectives, and someone who's doing this. So people don't have to worry about it. The anti-cheat team is actually hand reviewing every action we take this season.
Wow.
As with our anti-cheat programs, we always start slow, and as we build confidence in our algorithms, right? So I can guarantee you nobody is going to have action taken against their account who isn't engaging in the behavior.
All right, that's good. That's good. I was hearing that. It's like the confusion with that, so that's good to clear it up. Any plans to make a casual mode for Battlegrounds to combat?
I do think that that's something that we need. We are actively talking about that. I don't have any real firm update on that, but it is definitely something we're talking about on the team, and I do think that it's something that's needed. I think that just a casual queue where you can still go in, complete your objectives, you can still earn points towards the events, but obviously you wouldn't be climbing up the ladder. I do think that that's something that's needed, and that is something we're actively looking at building, but I don't have a timeline for that.
It feels like Call of Duty where you got casual play and then ranked play, and it's kind of you'll get different awards for different things.
Yeah, I think that, and you're going to hear us talk more about this either later this year or early next year. I do think that there's a significant group of summoners that feel like we've kind of flipped the script on them, in the sense that we've turned a game that 3 or 4 years ago was mostly a PvE solo game into a competitive multiplayer game, and so we totally hear that. There are reasons that we've done that. The major one being that Battlegrounds and Alliance were self-balancing game modes, right? They're always balanced because they're always based on summoner rosters, and so it becomes really easy to over-index on that. But as a game team, I can tell you that we do feel like we have now over-indexed on that, and we are going to try to move back towards more solo PvE play. That isn't to say that Battlegrounds is going everywhere. I think it's critical to the future of the contest, but you'll see with this release of this Everest content that we're planning, we're going to start to shift the needle back a little bit towards the solo PvE side to hopefully end up in a better balance by sort of the middle of next year. That's our plan.
Cool, yeah, man. We're excited for that Everest content. You should be as well. All right. You play with Morbius?
Do I play with Morbius?
Have you played Morbius?
I have played Morbius a little bit. A tactic attacker, obviously in both Battlegrounds and Alliance War right now. But just got my hands on my first on my production account, obviously, when everyone else did. So I think Morbius is really good. I think Morbius
Legacy
is a really solid attacking science champion. I said on one of our streams, I think that we need more of those because Mystics have kind of taken over Battlegrounds. And I think he's going to be a staple in Battlegrounds decks. I think he's a really solid science champion. I think he's quite balanced. I don't think he's overpowered or anything like that. I think once awakened, he also has a lot more utility, can do more matchups. So
absolutely.
I like Morbius. I think he's a great champion. I like his design. Looking forward to honestly getting more acquainted with him.
Yeah, me too.
When is Realm 2.0? That's the Everest thing that it's not Realm 2.0, but there is a new piece of Everest content coming soon, and you can tune into the Brawl tomorrow where there, I believe, will be more details for everyone.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If there's any last questions, we can run by them real quick and get you on out of here. When is Deathless King Groot? Hey, you never know.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about the Deathless rollout next year. It's going to create kind of this consistent chase throughout next year. I did want to, by the way, say something about the Deathless pieces because I know that the first 6-star piece went live today. So a couple things about that. The first is that if you collect all of the 7-star Deathless pieces, you do not need to buy the 6-star ones in the shop. You will get both the 7-star and the 6-star when you trade in the 7-star pieces. The second is that all of the 6-star pieces will be available for different currencies in the game. So the first one is launching for trophy tokens. I believe there's going to be one for glory. I believe there's going to be one for loyalty. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it's incursions artifacts. But the idea with the 6-star pieces is if you don't feel like you're up to the challenge to collect the 7-star pieces, and they are going to be hard to collect, some of them. Some of them will be easier. Some of them will be harder. If you don't feel up to the challenge but still want to get your hands on Deathless, you can basically spend the currencies to buy the pieces. But again, if you are going to try to collect the 7-star pieces, definitely do not buy those 6-star pieces. Wait to see if you can actually do that, and if it turns out that you can't collect the 7-star pieces, the 6-star pieces will still be in the shop for you to pick up at that point. So yeah, that's where that's going. And then yeah, next year, some really cool Deathless champions coming. All of them are going to have slightly different kits than their main, than their existing contest champions, and the goal behind them, I think, and I'm not a champion designer, but the way that they've told me about it is that they want the Deathless to be like a really cool questing team.
Okay.
I don't think that any of them are going to be like super OP Battlegrounds champions, but the idea is that when you synergize them all up together in a quest, they're going to be a really fun team to like roll through quest with. So that's the goal for those champions. They're not going to be like meta defining, but they should be fun and interesting and something new.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. All right.
Is the 7-star progression locked? I'm going to assume that means kind of like when the power bumps are coming, the rank we're introducing new ranks and stuff.
Yes.
It's basically, we have a roadmap. Obviously, it goes many years out, and when something goes many years out, it's subject to change. But yes, we do have a plan. If you're interested in that, at some point, it might be our next live stream, or it might be one of our live streams in November. I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we've arrived where we have. And where we're going with 7-star progression. So tune into that if that's something that interests you, because I do think that there's like a few things that have probably confounded the expectations of the community a little bit. And I totally get that, because if I didn't know everything that was coming in the game, I would agree with that. But I think that, within a couple months, summoners will start to see why we've arrived here, and hopefully be confident about the future. I'm pretty confident that we're moving in the right direction. I also will say that like I've been very happy with the rollout of 7-stars so far. The fact that we have these like interesting champions that can go straight into your Battlegrounds deck when you pull them, can go straight into your questing teams. Really enjoying the 7-for-7 challenge. The idea that we have these like useful champions that can define a meta. Side by side with kind of like these top meta 6-star champions, I think it's really interesting, and the data backs that up. Like if you look at Battlegrounds decks from before 7-stars released to now, like some of the use of champions, America Chavez is a perfect example. She was in almost 0 Battlegrounds decks before then. Now she's in a huge number of them, right? And it's really interesting because you've seen summoners who don't have her 7-stars start to rank up their 6-star as well, because they start to see that, right? So there's a bunch of champions like that we've released as 7-stars that have sort of created a new interesting meta in Battlegrounds. So very happy with that, and the goal is to continue with that, to continue to make the 7-star release a more novel champion acquisition than it was for our past rarities.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. A lot of Deathless questions.
Yeah.
Homelander playable? No, wrong. We talked about wanting like a Marvel versus DC crossover, but like just the legalities of that would be insane.
Yeah, like I said, we're pretty firmly committed to the Marvel IP, at least on this project.
All right.
Are 7-star Deathless only available to certain progressions? The answer is basically yes, because some of the ending content that you collect the pieces in is locked to, I believe, Paragon only.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The pieces are also, some of them are going to be hard enough to get that unless you're a Paragon player, it's unlikely you'd be able to do it anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
These aren't supposed to be easy. The whole idea is to create like this consistent challenge throughout the game. And so that's kind of like what we're leveraging. Some of them will be easier to collect, but most of them will be a pretty significant challenge for even sort of experienced summoners.
Yeah, it feels like other video games that you're kind of being influenced by and having to collect the pieces, doing different content and going all around the battle realm. I like it.
Yeah.
It's sick. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for you. How's your night been? You excited?
Yeah, like I said, an amazing day today. Brawl couldn't have gone better, I don't think, in the sense that like we had 4 super competitive matches, a really excited live crowd, and really excited for thanks to all of our competitors have put on an awesome show. So yeah, thank you all for being with us, for supporting the contest. Really appreciate it. Love our fans, and I mean, I know the people at home aren't in Vancouver, but also a huge shout out to yourself, everyone who traveled to Vancouver for this. We are going to try to do more of these.
Yes.
This is going pretty well, and so hopefully next year we can make it even bigger. So come join us in Vancouver next year, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Like I said, not only great competition, but there's going to be, I believe there's 2 pretty insane reveals coming tomorrow on stream. So make sure you tune in for that.
Maybe your questions will be answered there.
All right. Thanks very much.
Yes, man.
Cheers.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.